If you're looking to keep learning about how to successfully create a landscape or a garden lighting design, then watch this video, although this is video 2, so if you haven't watched video 1, jump onto that first. Hi there, and welcome back to this series on how to successfully create a landscape or a garden lighting design. I'm James, I'm one of the directors here at Astra Lumos, and this is video 2 of the series. So if you haven't watched video 1, do jump onto that first, where we discuss how to light gardens and go into a little bit more about what actually is landscape lighting design. In this video, we're going to be discussing how layering of light works in a garden setting. Before we jump into that, I just thought it'd be probably quite a good starting place. What is layering of light? Well, essentially, layering of light, simply put, is it involves the use of multiple types of lighting to create a well-lit and a balanced space. So what does this mean for a garden? So if you had to take probably just a standard rectangle square box garden with a bit of plantery on one side, a bit of planting on the other side, maybe a statue at the back, and maybe a seating area in the middle. If you were middle of winter, let's say, looking out at this space, all you are going to see is probably nothing. It's just going to be dark. So if we start adding lights, what we want to do is create not only a mix of lights and shadows, but also create a bit of depth to the garden. And that's where this technique of layering lights really comes in. Chances are, if you've got a statue or if you've got a focal point, we're going to use something like a spotlight or an uplight, something that really draws your eye to that. So if you've now got the square, if we had to keep a bit of dark either side of that statue, uplight the statue, and then that way your eye will naturally be drawn to it. So that would, let's say, be one source of light. We would then probably light a little bit in the beds to the left and the right. So what that then gives is not only you've got sort of the boundary lines left and right, but you've also now got a bit of depth to the garden. So the statue on the far end gives you the furthest point, so now you know how far the garden is. What we'd use is probably something like a bit of a mushroom light or some downlighting effects on the delicate planting. So now you've got both depth and the width of the outdoor space or the landscape. And then probably if you've got something like a little seating area in the middle, or perhaps you've got a seating area near the back or that sort of thing, what we would then do is probably add a little bit of path lighting, and what that then gives is some aesthetics of the path, some safety from any change in levels or stuff, any steps, any trip hazards. So now you've got the depth, the width of the garden, you've got any changes in level from a step light perspective or a path lighting perspective, plus you've got the aesthetics of the natural planting and the materials, and you now have the safety aspect where you could literally walk from your house to your table or your sitting area or even to the statue safely. So now we've incorporated planting left, planting right, statue, plus some path lights. So we've now got 4 different light sources, and essentially that is how we're starting to build up the layers. If you've got some other trees in the garden, or chances are your garden's not just going to be a square rectangle, we would then start adding a bit more lights and possibly creating a bit more drama with the use of the light and the dark. So uplighting big trees, if they're then surrounded by dark forest, it really pulls the eye in and it's quite dramatic. So that would be another source of light and therefore another layer. And so we slowly build up the layers depending on how you want the garden to feel, what you want to use the garden for. If you like to dine out there, then we might add a bit more task lighting so that you can eat by the lighting itself. That is really the basis of this layering, and we would get to know you. If put it this way, if we were designing and installing this garden lighting for you, our first point of call would be, how do you want to use your garden? How often do you use your garden? And what level of control do you want over your garden lighting? From there, we would start building on these layers until we got to the right level of use, aesthetics and safety, and then go from there. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's just clarifying things a bit more. On the next video, we're going to jump into the different types of lights and where to use them. Hopefully see you there. Obviously, this is video 2 of 6, so watch video 1 first, then this, and then jump onto the next one.